Yes, it is time. I do say good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome one and all to Build. How are we doing today? You guys feeling all right? You having a good day so far, huh? You feeling well? You toasty? You're in the cozy Build studios. Thank you so much for being with us. Thanks for coming out on this ridiculously frigid winter afternoon here in New York City. But man, it may be cold outside, but it's about to get hot up in here. Why? Because who do we have from Shadowhunters? I got Matthew Daddario and Alberto Rosende with me. How do you feel? You like these boys, huh? I know you do. I got a fan right here. And you're right. You're right to be impressed by that segue. That was very slick on my part, yes. We're going to have a lot of fun up here. We got fantastic guests, and I got an equally fantastic moderator leading the charge for you, coming to us from HuffPost Entertainment. The great Cole Delvick is back. I love Cole. Make some noise for Cole. He's a good dude. He does a great job. So we're going to have fun. That's what we do here. We have fun all the time, every day, back to back. Lots of fun. So they're going to talk for a little, and then part of that fun process is audience Q&A. You guys know that. You don't need me to tell you. But if this is your first time, welcome. Now you know there's going to be some audience Q&A. So think of some questions. So when I throw a microphone your way, you don't freak out and seize up. Because we're live. We are. I mean, don't make that part of it. Just focus on the question and asking it. But I just want you to be aware of those things. Speaking of being live, those tuning in out there on AOL.com and all over the place, man, I hope you're warm as well. You could send us a question via Twitter at BuildSeriesNYC. Or if you're feeling really saucy, we made a button that says submit a question on it. Give it a press, type something in there, send it on over. Maybe, just maybe, we'll read your question live. We'll say your name. It'll be a whole thing. All right. I got a quick clip. We're going to watch that together, and then we will get the boys out here, and we will do this thing. Before I go any further, you know they can hear you. The curtain, it's parted ever so slightly. I see you trying to peek through. Look at you. Oh, here. Eyes up front. Don't spoil it. You're so close. You came this far. All right. Now, let's let them know. You guys excited they're here? Let's let Matthew and Alberto know. Come on. We're excited. Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for that. Let's go ahead and run that clip.
In this insane world, things that I never thought could happen do.
You literally slay demons.
You've got a target on your back.
Jason, cross the line. I would do anything to take back those 30 seconds.
Shadowhunters, all new Mondays, 8, 7 Central on Freeform, and catch up anytime with the app or on demand.
All right, guys, it is that time. Put your hands together, make some noise, and please welcome your host and moderator from HuffPost Entertainment, Cole Delvick, and today's guests from Shadowhunters, Matthew Daddario and Alberto Rosende.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you? Good. Well, thanks so much for stopping by AOL Build. I have to say, it's really exciting to see you in person because your faces are plastered literally all over the city, on billboards and buses.
On the subways, we've seen it. That's
Have
very
you?
cool. Yeah,
I've been getting a lot of Snapchats from friends, just being like, hey, I saw you on the way to work today.
Yeah.
I was taking the train home last night, and I gazed upwards, and I was like, oh, Shadowhunters. They're everywhere.
Yeah, we like it. We like the fact that we're on the buses and on the trains.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's cool.
Have you gotten used to it yet, or is it still a little surreal?
Well, I've only seen one, and that's because I went looking for it. The one on 34th Street. Oh, yeah, other than that, I haven't seen any yet, so I can't say I'm used to it.
Ride the 6 train. It's there.
Okay.
So I want to start this conversation by talking about the fandom. So often these sort of supernatural shows and movies are fueled by very dedicated fans, and Shadowhunters is no different. So I wonder, what do you think resonates so deeply about Shadowhunters with all these fans?
I think it's one of the things that makes our show interesting. We have a bunch of supernatural elements. We have vampires and werewolves and all this crazy stuff that goes on, but really what makes our show kind of resonate with everyone is the human elements that make it real, like our relationships with each other, our relationships with ourselves as characters, how we grow, how we develop. Those are very real things that I think everyone's kind of going through, and we just have this supernatural flair that makes it Shadowhunters.
And we absolutely have to thank Cassie Clare.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, the years of these books coming out and people, I guess, hoping for movies, and then when the movie, and then the TV show, and so the basis was there, and people were very excited, so we've sort of piggybacked off that.
Yeah, what was your entrance into the whole universe? Was it the books, was it the movie, or was this your first sort of introduction to Shadowhunters?
For me, it was the audition initially for the movie, so I knew about it back then. I didn't book the film, but then I got the audition for the show, and then I started reading the books immediately when they flew me out to LA to test for it, and then we all dove in.
For me, it was the audition for the show and then the books, kind of to understand what was going on, who each person was to every other person, because that's really big for us, the relationships.
Yeah. Alberto's big on research.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good research.
Yeah, for me, you can never know too much.
Wait, so Matthew, you auditioned for the movie before the series. Was it for Alec as well?
No, I think I auditioned for Jace years ago, back when they were casting it, but I don't think they called me back.
Well, it all worked out, I think, right? It worked out for the best. And something I love about the series is how detailed and expansive this world is. I felt like I almost needed a vocabulary list while watching. There's runes and there's de-runing and there's steles.
That's actually it's a funny issue because there's this constant concern, like, will anyone have any idea what this is unless they've read the books? So for new people who haven't read the books or don't know anything about it, I feel like they're watching the show. I got a call from my mom the other day, and she's like, I don't really know what's happening. I don't know what this is, and I'm concerned about the vampires. Are they good? Are they bad? Because some are bad, and so she doesn't really know. And so we have to explain that. So a lot of what we do on the show is like trying to explain things to people, but then you don't want to do that too much. So
people figure it out. So we were trying to always balance the line of how much do we tell them and how much do we let them kind of figure it out and watch through context.
I mean, I think you guys strike a good balance. Is there any sort of part of the universe or any word that you like the most about this whole Shadowhunters phenomenon?
Like what thing?
Yeah, like the Estella, the runes, the Parabatai. Parabatai. I can never pronounce that word.
No, we there are a lot of discussions about how to pronounce a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I actually learned something interesting about. I was in Pompeii recently. I don't know if I should say this. You could look home and search what stele means in context of tombs near Pompeii.
Okay.
Go home and look it up.
Anyone with phones, please. And so season 2 premiered just a few weeks ago, I think beginning of January, right? And I'm so happy to see the show build on its success. We were saying I think the characters are stronger, the direction of the plot feels more concerted, and I was just wondering, what sort of feeling was there going into season 2? It seems like you all are kind of energized.
I know we were all very excited to come back and to be able to continue telling this story that we all started to really enjoy and fall in love with. And then season 2 really has a focus more on character development and how each character grows and changes. So I think as actors, we all love that. And I loved it for Simon. It was like, oh, cool. So we really get to go into what he does and what he's doing, what he's thinking, where he's going, what he wants. It feels almost more driven in that sense for me.
No, we were coming in. We were tremendously excited, and I mean, it was a very intense 4.5 months.
Yeah.
And now we go back to do 4.5 more months, and we're equally
almost like
excited.
a whole other season.
Yeah.
I know. Is everyone excited? We have 20 episodes this season.
20 episodes.
I'm excited.
And something that strikes me about both of your characters is maybe out of the whole entire cast, you two have had the most sort of distinct character arc. Simon starts out as this kind of lovable, nerdy sidekick to Clary, and now we see him transform into this vampire. And, Alex started out as more of a repressed individual, and we've seen him open up. What has that been like to, pun intended, sink your teeth in to this sort of like meteor roles this season and the season before as well?
I was very appreciative the first season of my arc because I got to follow a full path for this individual, which was really, that's nice. I mean, I don't know, like Jace's story didn't get completed. So at the end of the first season, Jace was heading into the meat of his story at the beginning of this season. And so mine sort of was wrapped up nicely kind of with a question of what's next. And this season we get to explore that. And so the first half of the second season, we're going to see another one of these story arcs, which completes kind of nicely.
Yeah.
And then I get to do another one, I hope, for the next half. I don't know what's happening, though.
Yeah, we don't know what happens in the next 10 episodes. We're still very excited to go back and see. For Simon, I feel like the first season was a very clear arc because we knew we had the books to kind of lay the foundation for him. We knew where he was going, and they kind of had given me hints as to what they wanted to end with. This season, while he still grows tremendously, it's a little more. It's not as clear. What at least it wasn't as. There's no foundation for what's happening other than the main plot points in the books that we know have to happen. Other than that, a lot of his journey and growth are kind of coming with each script, which is for me really cool.
I think it's amazing how your character stays happy at all, considering how miserable everything is that happens to him.
Well, he has to, and
He's betrayed all the time.
Yep.
Everyone's horrible to you, and you just keep on trucking along.
Well, that's life, right?
Yeah, for Simon.
For Simon, you got. I mean, I don't know. I saw this meme about Hey Arnold the other day, and I was like, that's very Simon. It was like Gerald's like, hey, why do you always look up? Like, why are you always looking on the bright side of things? And Hey Arnold was like, well, somebody has to. And I feel like that's very much Simon's opinion. He could kind of fall into it and fall into this pit. I mean, he's a vampire now. He has to like survive off of blood with no sun. But he could see it as he's a vampire now. He gets to drink blood and has like superpowers, and kind of. So he's trying his best to get through things, and I think that's what kind of gives him that fan. The fans really like that. They like to see someone that continues to like fight at adversity.
Yeah, and speaking of Simon, I think he's such a welcome sort of comedic relief to the show. Yeah. Keeps everything with a little bit of a laugh and a smirk, and that's so welcome. And what I love what they've done with your character is that they've sort of made him the worst vampire ever, right?
Yes.
Usually we see these vampires and they're super suave and sexy and, have been doing this for like 200 years. But it's been so fun to see Simon sort of dip his toes into this supernatural world.
Well, one of the things I like about Simon is he's like the first vampire that's aware of other vampires. Sometimes it's like, oh, vampires are things, and they never like comment on how like they're in movies. Or I feel like Simon very much tries to live up to what his expectation of a vampire is, and that's where the problem is. Because in this world, since they're very real, they don't have those. They're like, those are movies; those aren't real. But he's like, but we're supposed to be cool and fast and strong.
Well, you've only been a vampire for like a week.
Yeah.
Give it time. Give it a little time.
Hopefully he'll get there, right?
Yeah.
And you're also part of this love triangle, which I feel like probably everyone has an opinion on, with Clary and Jace. But I gotta say, how does Clary not know that you are into her? That scene in the warehouse in the premiere, you were about to say it. It seems like the door falls or someone enters the room every time.
I'm starting to think she knows. She just doesn't want. And this is like the biggest fear Simon has, is that if he says something, it'll kind of ruin everything they've built together as a friend. So I feel like at this point she knows. She just doesn't want him to say it. She's like, just don't go there.
What do you mean, don't go there? What do you mean?
That's what I feel like. This is last episode 1. He's like, hey, I'm absolutely crazy. Where would that sentence go? She knew what was going to happen.
I think she's got her head elsewhere. I think she's got her head in the clouds right now.
Yeah, I guess.
And I mean, she's the one who turned you into a vampire. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't love her, but Alec is kind of, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens this season.
And looking at your character, I have to commend you and the series. I thought they handled Alex coming out and that story arc so thoughtfully, and I thought it was so powerful to see that narrative in a supernatural show, a teen supernatural show that's not specifically about a gay experience, but it's included in one of the plot lines. So I think they just handled that so artfully. So I just want to commend you on that.
Oh, well, thank you. I think that in the first season we got to see someone who's, really hard on himself and trying to figure all that out. And then in that final moment at the wedding, that's really a moment for Alec, for himself. And I just think that was I liked that moment quite a bit. And this season we explore now the next step, which is equally or if not more complex.
I could imagine that in the eyes of some people in Hollywood, taking a role as a gay character might be a little risky. Was there anyone in your career who warned you against that, or were a little hesitant, or were you just anxious to play this great role?
I don't know. I don't know if I should have been warned. Nobody warned me. No, I thought it was a great opportunity from the get-go, and we were very excited about it. I mean, anytime you get to play something that does have a group of people who are very interested in it, and it has some potential impact, that's like an honor, and you have to put a lot of effort in and think about it and make sure you don't screw it up. Yeah.
No, I think you're doing a great job, and it makes me think. I don't know if anyone watches How to Get Away with Murder, but Jack Falahi on that show plays a gay character, and he recently released a statement about the responsibility he feels to engage with the LGBT community and sort of authentically represent that experience. What is your approach to this whole thing?
That's the key. The key for me, being authentic is really, really important. And I don't want there to be a situation we arrive at where you are taking advantage of a community or trying to just sort of portray something so that people will be like, oh, look what we're doing. We're being progressive or something like that. We want to actually do something that actually is meaningful and is in fact impactful and is honest. And I think that one great thing about Alec is that he gets to be honest a lot because I feel like Alec is a very real, his concerns are real, and the things that he's going through and the way he's handling it is the way, you'd have a kind of, what do you think, he's a little bit repressed? Yeah. A young repressed kind of 20-year-old. How old are we?
Simon's turning 19.
Yeah, I know, but it's been different. I thought we sort of did it different than the book.
We are.
Oh, okay,
yeah. Because Simon's turning like 15 or 16 in the books.
Yeah, right.
And then Alec's the oldest of the crew.
Yeah.
Alec's the oldest, okay.
Yeah.
And, I'm curious, I think Magnus and Alec have this huge, passionate fan base. I was watching that wedding scene actually last night, and I think it's racked up like hundreds of thousands of views. And you have such a great chemistry between these two guys. So I'm wondering, can you tease any sort of developments for the new season? Where are we going? Any more?
Where are we going? I mean, come on. It's Magnus and Alec. They're going to spend a lot of time together. They're gonna figure some things out. There's going to be, I said on Twitter, they're going to get a little sweaty. And they enjoy themselves together, and sometimes they argue a little bit, but that's normal, that's normal. And they're going to have a good time. They're definitely going at it head first.
Okay, well, we can't wait to see. And so before we go to audience questions, could each of you tease what's going to happen for the other's character in the next few episodes? I think we're all anxious to hear what's going to happen.
For his character?
Yes, so you would talk about Simon's development, and then you and
Simon takes a little vacation, wanders off somewhere, nothing bad happens.
Standard Simon stuff.
Yeah, he just wanders off. No, he focuses on, I don't even know what you've been doing. This is the funny thing about Alec and Simon is they do
really
not interact.
I
don't think we had a single...
I think I saw Matt on set twice in the first 10 episodes.
Do we don't have exchange words at any point?
No, not once.
We're separate the entire time. I'm busy with someone else, and he's busy. Both of us are seeking our
It's funny because I
loved
actually
ones.
got. I think my mom was asking me. She's like, "So do you see everyone on set all the time?" I was like, "No, not this year. The Downworlders. We pretty much stuck with other Downworlders in our own things, and the Shadowhunters were busy with Valentine and what's going on in their world. So we pretty much are very, very separate. And it's funny how that's kind of worked out.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully some more scenes together in the future. I think we'd all like to see that.
Oh yeah, I'd love Alec to ridicule poor Simon.
Simon can deal with that, I guess. He's like,
Hey,
"All right,
Vampire
I'll
Simon
take
can
it."
deal with it.
Getting there.
Okay, let's hear from the audience.
Hey, hi. So my question's for the both of you. I was just wondering if in the future, if either of you would want to produce, direct, or write a future episode of Shadowhunters.
I mean, of course, I think that's
Absolutely.
something.
But
That's something, but that requires a certain skill set that we have to learn. It's not something that you can. Writing is very, very difficult. Directing is very difficult. It requires a lot of skill, and so we can sort of learn that on the set, luckily. But this will take some time.
yeah, I wouldn't want to approach that until I was very confident that I had that skill set, that I wasn't going to waste anyone's time, and that we could really move forward, and I really had a vision for what I wanted. But that's going to take a lot of time, like you said, to develop and understand.
Hi, guys. Thank you guys for being here today.
Hi.
I wanted to tell you I binge watched the show, and I love it, and I'm in love with Simon. He's my favorite character.
Mine too.
But I wanted to know, how much of yourself do you see in your characters, and what is different? Like, what,
I've always said that I see Simon as like I'm very similar to him, and I see a lot of myself in him, but a younger version of myself, or a part of myself that I think I'd like to think that I've grown past at some points, And then sometimes I'm very surprised and inspired by him too. Like we talked about, how he continues to smile and confront adversity like head on, any problem he has. It's very hard to do that in real life. It's very hard to continue to be like, oh, today hasn't been completely awful. I can still have a good dinner and it'll turn everything around. But Simon very much is someone that continues to kind of look in that direction. In those moments that he forgets that, he very quickly kind of jumps back. And that's something that I think is cool and inspiring about him. And I wish that I could bring more into my life.
I think for Alec, I feel like Alec is just another timeline of myself, maybe. Maybe one where things are slightly different or I have a different set of circumstances. And because ultimately it's still me, right? Because I'm running around up there doing all this Alec stuff. And you can't completely eliminate yourself from it. So there's definitely a part there, but his problems are much more complex and different than mine, so...
Hi. So my question's for Matt. As Alec has an amazing relationship with Isabel. So I was wondering, when you're working with Emerald, does it remind you of your own relationship with your siblings?
Does it remind me about... that's funny. Working with Emerald is like working... I don't know how it's become like this, but like working with a sister. But she's different than my siblings. So... she's very amusing, and we have a very good time. And when we are playing Izzy and Alec, there definitely feels very fraternal. And it's really, she's been great to work with. Yeah, she's really, really the best. It's fun. This season we have I can tease a little something, I guess, where there's something happens that creates a little bit of a rift, a conflict, and then I do something good.
Yeah.
Ooh. Good way to go. Yeah. And well, that's going to be in around episode 8, 9, 10, so look forward to that.
Well, we will. And so before we let you guys go, can you remind everyone where they can catch Shadowhunters?
On Freeform, on Mondays at 8 p.m.
Tonight, episode 2.
Episode 2 tonight. And you can
Everybody watch
on the Freeform app.
And
on
Hulu
the Freeform app
as well.
and Hulu.
Great. Well, thank you so
Hulu
much
on
for
demand.
being here.
Thank you for having us.